All right. First official topic today, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about TV shows that have never had a decline.
Do we get a guess, or do you have a list?
Well, I have some that I stole from Reddit, but I mean, it's opinion based, so it's completely up to you guys. So I will let you guys. Let me get through these first, and then I will. And then I'll go to you guys, and if you guys have any knowledge of any of this stuff, you guys are more than welcome to go ahead and bring that up there. So this came direct from Reddit. It is, which TV show never had a decline in quality? And one of the first answers up on the board,
Seinfeld, right?
Oddly enough, Seinfeld's not any of the ones that I chose here.
Wow.
We have this one here where somebody says, I never
Mr.
saw a bad
Rogers' Neighborhood.
I never saw a bad episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And somebody says, yes, that's an example of a show that just got better and better. Thank you, Randy Pajamas.
Okay.
Or literally just stayed the same the whole way through.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really. It had its little thing and did it what it just did what it normally did. Did you like the beam of neighbor?
Oh, see, the beard says Seinfeld minus the last episode. I liked the last episode. I thought it was great.
Yeah, the last episode didn't bother me.
I thought it was a good way to wrap it up. Somebody else here says Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original cartoon.
I don't know. I stopped. I think I watched like an episode of that and it just didn't do anything for me.
I keep thinking I want to get into it, and I never quite have, because I constantly hear good things about it. And there's going to be actually this next one here is one that I've heard people speak highly of, and I have watched it, and I can concur that it is a fantastic show all the way through, and that's Gravity Falls.
Never heard of it.
So this person says everybody is saying the obvious one, so I may add Gravity Falls. 2 seasons, a clear story, good ending, good twists along the way, and great cast of characters. Fun and geeky responds with, I fully agree. It was a solid story. Season 1 did great world building and setups. Season 2 had amazing payoffs. That 3-part finale was epic. So Gravity Falls, it's about these twins that end up having to stay the summer with their uncle. He lives in Gravity Falls, Oregon, by the way. And there's all this weird, crazy stuff that happens around them, like supernatural stuff. And it's one of those shows, if you have kids and you're looking for a television show that you as a parent can watch that will be entertained, this is one of them. This one I will watch on my own because it's just that funny. It's just that entertaining. So I highly, highly, highly recommend Gravity Falls. Next one on here. Highly. Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle? Nah. When the kids started growing up, I bailed. It wasn't as funny anymore.
I think that tends to be a lot of
shows.
those. Yeah, like a lot of those
where the kids grow up.
They grow up and it's just kind of
It's become bratty adults. It's like they're still trying to make them be kids, but they're all like 18 years old. And no, act like you're 13 now. It's like, my man is huge.
I only ever watched a handful of episodes of that.
It was a funny show, and then just got.
Yeah, I think I watched mostly the first 2 or 3 seasons.
I think the first 2 seasons, yeah, and then after that, it just went to.
It did start to get a little bit. Weird.
Sorry, Dorcas, you lose.
No, it's Dorcas Malorcas 89.
Twitter.
But on here, Roberto Del Camino says, Always Sunny had an episode this season where the gang meets Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston. Charlie keeps calling Bryan Cranston Mr. Malcolm.
From Malcolm.
That's a show I don't have on the list here, but that is a show that I would say has never had a decline, is Always Sunny. It's continued to be fantastic.
Never seen an episode of it.
Really?
Amazing story, amazing show.
It's incredibly well done, and as crass as it can be, it's some of the most well thought out stuff that you've ever watched. Next one on here, Better Off Ted. Do you guys remember Better Off Ted?
Sounds familiar.
So it was about this guy that worked for this major global corporation, and it was a comedic take on all the BS that happens within this corporation. I loved it. I think it only lasted 2 seasons, and it ended up getting canceled because it was one of those ones on ABC. They couldn't quite find a spot for it, and it just kind of fizzled away. But I thought that Better Off Ted was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was hilarious. See, now the beard says Parks and Rec.
I never watched the whole
Never
show.
seen an episode of that either.
God, what the fuck do you watch, Frank?
Better stuff.
Dude, these are all brilliant
How would you know
shows.
if it's better if you
Yeah.
didn't watch it?
Because if it didn't catch my attention, it obviously was not good.
Well, here's the okay.
Oh, yeah,
I do
there
have
you
to
go.
say this about Parks and Rec. The first
all
two
personal,
seasons can be a rough watch because they started the show off as this is Amy Poehler's show. She plays Leslie Knope, and so it's a show wrapped around her. And then after that was when they started to realize we have a really, really good supporting cast here. Yeah, you have Ron Swanson, played by Nick Offerman. You had Andy Dwyer, played by Chris Pratt. You had Aziz Ansari.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, it's before he was Star-Lord. You had Aziz Ansari, and you had Aubrey Plaza, and it's when they started to branch out, and it's when they brought in Rob Lowe and Adam Scott as well. Although, big props to Mark Brandanowitz. That's the guy that basically got written off of the show when he got replaced. But I would say start with season 3. If you start with season 3, you're going to be gold, and then you'll want to go back and watch seasons 1 and 2. Next
I think those nights that those shows were on, I was probably bowling, and that's why I never got into them. So I was bowling Tuesdays and Thursdays. So and Wednesday nights were dedicated to Sons of Anarchy. So
that's true. Frank did get me into Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
Freaks and Geeks. Did you guys ever watch Freaks and Geeks?
No, I mean, I remember it being on. I think I was in my going out, every night, all the hours of the night at that point, because I was 2000. So I missed that when it was only on for a season or whatever it was on.
See, I never
say it was season or something like that.
Yeah, it only lasted the one season. I never actually watched the series when it was live or when it was airing like at that time. But when you look at the cast, you have Linda Cardellini, James Franco, Seth Rogen, Jason Segel. But I have to say, Martin Starr is hands down my favorite character of all from Freaks and Geeks. He plays
dude with glasses, the nerd with glasses.
Yeah.
That looks like
Bill
the grown-up
Haverchuck.
kid. He looks like the grown-up kid from God, what was the show with Fred Savage?
Are you talking about Wonder Years?
Wonder Years, yeah. He looks like the grown-up kid from that show.
I mean, kind of, yeah. No, it was great, and and that's the thing is, I think that it being only one season definitely helped. Although I think, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Is the first season ends with Linda Cardellini's character essentially kind of running away during the summer to go like tour with the Grateful Dead or something like that. I might be wrong. But no, yeah, Bill Haverchuck is one of my top 5 television characters of all time. I would love to meet Martin Starr because that guy has been some of my favorite characters of all. He was also in Silicon Valley. He had bit parts.
Spider-Man movies.
He was in the Spider-Man movies. He was also in Community as a small role.
One of my friends tried to say I looked like him. I never saw it.
Martin Starr?
Yeah, I did. I think they tried to do that crap just to annoy me because I was I don't look anything like that guy.
Yeah, I could see it.
No, that guy's good looking, Frank. You're not.
I also got good looking. He looks like my left
I got to use my
nut.
rim shot.
Also, the dude who was the dude from Heroes and then went on to play Spock in the movies. Zach Quinto was his name.
Hiro Hiroshi. Wasn't that the guy's name? Oh, you're talking about the non-Asian guy. Oh, yeah, Zachary Quinto.
I've been told I had. You want to hear a funny story? When I was working in the mall, I had this family, these 2 girls and this mother come to me, and the mother goes, she goes, "Look, I don't know if you know, but my daughters wanted to tell you, you look like iCarly's older brother." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool." And they left, and I turned around to my employee and I go, "What the fuck is an iCarly?" And they went, "Why?" And I go, "These people just said I look like her older brother." And so they went, "Oh my God, you do." And they like on their phone pulled it up. And apparently I look a little bit like, which I won't argue because I kind of do. I look like iCarly's older brother. So there's that.
All right, we're going to have to look that up later. All right, I got one more
Reeves
on this list here. Caillou started out at rock bottom, never declined.
What the hell was that?
You don't know what Caillou is? It's the show with that little bald kid who apparently just cries and whines all the fucking time. So I found this out. This is why I bring this up because
Don't know it.
This pierced geek, I don't want to know where you're pierced at, says the instant guttural revulsion I felt just reading that bald little human hangnail's name. So glad other people see it too.
All right. You
And,
can tell,
and people piggyback on, like, here you have, just reading Caillou made me angry. So then somebody asks, can I ask why is he so hated? I never watched the show, but everyone has such a visceral reaction to him. And somebody says it's a show about a 4-year-old who throws tantrums at the littlest things and everybody around him rewards him for it. It's lamented as the cause of many children suddenly becoming brats.
all right.
I could definitely see that. All right, so what do you guys have any shows that have never declined?
Well, Seinfeld for me was always one that never declined. I mean, I can rewatch that all the time. It's got better. I guess some people would say Friends, even though to me personally, I think like the first 3 or 4 seasons of Friends were good, and then after that, I think it just got too like relationship and stupid after that. Cheers. I enjoyed Cheers all the time. I thought it got better as it went on. And Mr. Robot.
With Rami Malek?
Yeah. It only was three seasons, but to me, that just stayed or got better with quality on that. I loved Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot. Lane, what about you? Dragon Ball Z? Never
Yeah,
had a
minus
decline.
all the episodes of people just screaming. But I was gonna say Firefly.
Yeah, well, again, another one that got wrapped up after one season.
2 seasons?
Yeah, I think it was one. They had only one
season?
season, and then they did the movie.
Yeah, I'd say Firefly. What was the other one I was gonna say? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Actually, I would actually say that I could watch that from beginning to end, and I would probably enjoy it.
They did a good job of having him in high school and then moving him on to college. A lot of shows don't make that leap.
Well, it's because he was already, like 20 when he started doing that show, so it would have been kind of hard to continue him being in high school when he's growing a goatee and,
Well, no, I'm talking
He
about...
had a mustache the whole time.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, like, the storyline of it, because there, like, you look at Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell lasted through the high school years, but when they tried to jump to the college years, it fell on its face.
You might hate me for this too. Never seen an episode of Saved by the Bell.
Jesus Christ, Frank! What the hell?
I was outside touching grass.
Wait, hold on. Am I high right now? Because shit, wrong button.
I ate a gummy.
There it is.
And one more I would say, and this is completely personal opinion, but I'd say Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Nothing wrong with that. That's one that I can honestly say I've never seen an episode.
Yeah. And that one definitely went up and never went back down.
For me, if the Simpsons would have stopped after like the year 2000, I could have put the Simpsons on there, but they've dragged on for another 35 million years.
I think
with Family Guy.
I think you could put The Simpsons as one of the biggest declines ever, and it's just because of how good it was. Not saying it's the worst show on television, but I mean, I don't know when the last time I watched it was, but I keep reading articles about how it's really getting to the point that even the voice actors don't sound like the voices anymore because they're so old.
And Disney will keep them on just to keep, to drain as much money out of it as they can until all those people die, basically.
All right, and Disney's gonna have AI do all their voices.
Yep.
Yeah, bro.
Well, I mean, James Earl Jones signed over the likeness for Darth Vader, so they're going to use AI to keep that thing going. Over in the chat. Anna's here. She said, I finally fixed my notifications so I know when this is on. Vero says, My So-Called Life. That was a pretty good show. Wasn't that on MTV, I think?
Yeah.
I think it was an MTV show. And the Beard says, the original Beavis and Butthead never had a bad episode. I love going and rewatching old episodes of Beavis and Butthead. That show was absolutely hilarious. And
the earlier X-Files stuff was good too, and then it just went.
Yeah, there's ones where it just gets weird. Like especially you can even look at something like News Radio. It was a fantastic show for the first few seasons. Now, granted, the death of Phil Hartman was really kind of the death of News Radio, where things kind of got weird, but it started to get weird even when he was still around. And I'm not necessarily. I mean, it's not bad. But it wasn't up to the standards of the early.
What about The Office? Would that stay up there? Because I only watched like 2 seasons of it.
My God, no! When Michael Scott left,
I've heard some people say it stayed good, and others say no, it was bad. I only watched I think like season 4 and 5, and then after that, I just stopped watching.
Once Michael Scott left, it was fucking terrible.